spell of Ebuka's heart. Nne Equitus smiled warmly at him, her mind already racing with thoughts. Her eldest daughter, Equitus, was a spirited young woman who had grown up too quickly. Exposed to the harsh realities of life in the market, Nne Equitus admired Ebuka's work ethic and respectful nature, and dreamed of a man like him for her daughter.
Equitus, my daughter, come and meet Ebuka, she called out one afternoon when Ebuka stopped by for lunch. He is a fine man, hardworking and kind. Once upon a time, in the heart of Obodo Ahana, a small village nestled among rolling hills and ancient trees, lived a man named Ebuka. Born into a family of farmers, Ebuka grew up learning the ways of the land, tilling the soil and nurturing the crops that sustained his family. When he came of age, his parents arranged a marriage for him, as was customary in their tradition. Ebuka, the time has come for you to have a family of your own, his father, Nnanna, said one evening as they sat by the fire. We have chosen a good woman for you, Obidia, the daughter of my friend. She will make a fine wife and mother. I trust your judgment, Papa, Ebuka replied respectfully. I will marry her and do my best to provide for our family. Ebuka married Obidia, a gentle and hardworking woman who soon became the light of his life. While Ebuka worked the fields, Obidia became a petty trader, selling goods at the local markets. Together, they had several daughters, each a joy and a blessing. But the couple longed for a son. Obidia, do not worry, Ebuka would say whenever he saw the sadness in her eyes. Our daughters are precious gifts, and I am grateful for each of them. A son will come in time if it is the will of the gods. Life continued in its usual rhythm until one day Ebuka received an invitation from his childhood friend Chikere, who lived in the bustling city of Aba. Ebuka, you know I have always wanted you to come to Aba, Chikere said during his visit to Obodo Ahana. There are opportunities here that you cannot find in the village. Join me, and together we can build a future that will provide for your family in ways farming never could. Determined to provide more for his family, Ebuka decided to take the leap. Leaving Obidia and their daughters in the village, he set out for Aba. Life in the city was tough at first. Ebuka struggled to learn the trade, sending every bit of money he could spare back home to support his family and care for his aging parents. I won't give up, Ebuka told himself every night, exhausted but resolute. This is for Obidia, my daughters, for my parents. I will make this work. After 2 years of hard work, Chikere helped him establish his own business, and soon Ebuka's fortune began to change. As Ebuka's business thrived, he found himself frequenting a food stall in the market owned by a widow named Nne Equitus. You are here early today, Ebuka, Nne Equitus greeted him one morning as she served him a plate of jollof rice. Business must be good. Yes, Mama Equitus. Things are finally looking up, Ebuka replied with a smile. Your food gives me the strength to face the day.
Nne Equitus smiled warmly at him, her mind already racing with thoughts. Her eldest daughter Equitus
was a spirited young woman who had grown up too quickly, exposed to the harsh realities of life in the markets. Nne Equitus admired Ebuka's work ethic and respectful nature and dreamed of a man like him for her daughter. Equitus, my daughter, come and meet Ebuka, she called out one afternoon when Ebuka stopped by for lunch. He is a fine man, hardworking and kind. Equitus came forward, smiling shyly. Good afternoon, sir, she greeted. Good afternoon, Equitus. Ebuka replied politely. Your mother speaks highly of you. One day, Nne Equitus confided in her sister, who had come to visit from Onitsha. Sister, I want Equitus to marry a good man like Ebuka, she said as they sat in her small home. But he already has a family in the village, and I don't know what to do. Her sister leaned in closer, lowering her voice. There is a powerful sorcerer in Onitsha who can help. He can prepare a charm to win Ebuka's heart, ensuring he forgets his family and devotes himself to Equitus. Nne Equitus recalled in shock. A charm? Sister, that is dangerous. Her sister waved away her concerns. Do you want a good future for your daughter or not? This is the way. I have seen it work for others. Trust me. Though Nne Equitus was initially skeptical, her desperation led her to the sorcerer. After providing the necessary sacrifices, she received a potent charm with strict instructions on how to use it and the requirement to renew it every 5 years. This is powerful magic, the sorcerer warned her as he handed her the charm. Use it carefully and do not forget to renew it, or the consequences will be dire. Using the charm was easy. Ebuka ate all his meals at Nne Equitus' store. It wasn't long before the charm took effect. Equitus, I can't stop thinking about you, Ebuka confessed one evening as they walked through the market. I want to take care of you, your mother and your siblings. You mean everything to me. Equitus smiled, pleased with the success of her mother's plan. I feel the same way, Ebuka. I'm so happy you feel this way. Ebuka, your son was born today, Chikere exclaimed one day, bursting into his shop with the news. The heir you have been waiting for. Ebuka, under the charm's influence, barely reacted. That's good news, he said flatly before turning back to his work. But I have more important things to take care of here. Chikere was in shock and tried talking Ebuka out of his relationship with Equitus, reminding him that his relationship with Equitus should just be a passing phase. But this did not go well with Ebuka. He became so upset and threatened to sever his relationship with Chikere, as he claimed that Equitus is the best thing that ever happened to him. Ebuka began to pour all his resources into Equitus and her family, neglecting his responsibilities back in Obodo Ahana. His visits to his wife and children in the village was also less frequent. Even though his wife was pregnant at this time, he neglected her and his 7 daughters. He built the house that he lived in Aba and later built 3 other rental properties, but the success did not filter down to his family in the village. His wife and children lived in abject poverty in the village, while his parents both lived their last days in sorrow and pain. Two of his siblings once visited him in Aba to know why he abandoned his wife and children in the village. But when they arrived at his home, they were met with hostility as his new wife Equitus made sure he did not grant them audience. She did not even offer them food or water, and she made sure they left the house even though it was late at night. They had to go and sleep in the home of one of their kinsmen. After about 10 years of being married to Equitus, Ebuka decided to write a letter to his older sister, informing her that he would be visiting the village soon to leave instructions on how he was going to be taking care of his wife and children in the village. He also did a second letter to his childhood friend that was now a lawyer, informing him that all his properties in Aba should be given to Equitus upon his demise. Unfortunately, he mistakenly sent the letter meant for the lawyer to his sister, and the one meant for his sister he sent to his lawyer. As at this time, Equitus' mother was supposed to have renewed the charm, but when she visited the sorcerer, she was told that he passed 1 year earlier and she collapsed. When she rushed to the hospital, she developed a stroke and was still bedridden as at this time. Upon receipt of the letter, alarmed, Ndidi, who had become deeply religious and devoted to praying for her brother's deliverance, decided to visit him in Aba. Ebuka, what has happened to you? Ndidi asked, her voice trembling as she confronted her brother. Why are you abandoning your wife and children? Why would you leave everything to this woman? Ndidi, you don't understand, Ebuka replied coldly, standing beside Equitus. Equitus is my wife now. She deserves everything. You are under a spell, Ndidi shouted, her voice filled with desperation. This is not the brother I know. This is not you. When Equitus tried to send Ndidi away, Ndidi, in a fit of anger and desperation, slapped Ebuka. The impact of this slap seemed to break the spell. Ebuka staggered, his eyes wide with sudden clarity. What am I doing here? He whispered, looking around in confusion. Equitus, you are just the daughter of the food seller. How did this happen? Ebuka, please don't leave us. Equitus cried, grabbing his arm. Let me go, Ebuka shouted, shaking her off. I need to get back to my family. He quickly followed Ndidi back to the village, where he fell to his knees before Bidia and his children, tears streaming down his face. Forgive me, he sobbed. I was lost. I do not know what came over me. Please forgive me. Obidia, with tears in her own eyes, placed a hand on his shoulder. We have suffered much, Ebuka, but you are my husband. I forgive you. However, the charm's grip on him had a lasting effect. Shortly after returning to the village, Ebuka fell gravely ill, a consequence of breaking the charm's hold. He died not long after, leaving his family devastated. Equitus, now widowed, refused to release Ebuka's properties to his rightful heirs. The properties are mine, she insisted to the village elders. Ebuka, give them to me. The village elders held several meetings with her, but she remained defiant. A year later, Equitus began to show signs of madness. Ebuka's spirit is haunting me, she would scream, tearing at her hair. He won't leave me alone. He says the properties belong to his children. Her family's attempts to bind the spirit were unsuccessful, and in the end, they had no choice but to give up all of Ebuka's possessions to his rightful heirs. "I'm sorry," Nne Equitos whispered to Obidia, her voice filled with regret as she handed over the keys to the properties. "We were wrong. We should never have done this." In a final act of mercy, Obidia, Ebuka's first wife, allowed Equitos to keep one of the houses so she wouldn't be completely destitute. "I don't want you or your children to suffer," Obidia said gently. "This house is yours. Use it to rebuild your life." But the damage was done. Equitos' greed and her mother's desperation had brought ruin to them all. Lesson: the consequence of greed, Nne Equitos' greed and desperation to secure a better life for her daughter, led to devastating consequences for both families. Greed often blinds people to the long-term effect of their actions. The power of true love and devotion. Ndidi's love and devotion to her brother, combined with her faith, ultimately broke the spell that held Ebuka captive. True love and genuine concern can lead to redemption, even in the direst circumstances. The dangers of tampering with fate. Using charms and sorcery to alter the course of someone's life is fraught with peril. The unnatural manipulation of destiny often leads to unforeseen and tragic outcomes. Forgiveness and compassion. Despite the suffering she endured, Obidia showed compassion towards Equitos by allowing her to keep one of the houses. This act of forgiveness highlights the importance of empathy and humanity, even towards those who have wronged us. Thank you very much for listening. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. If you enjoyed this story, I'm sure you will enjoy the next one. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video.